How you guys doing? Eric here. Today's Friday, July 7th, 2017, 7/7/17. Let's hope there's not another big terror attack today. Like 10 years ago, it's a 10-year anniversary, 7/7/7, the London subway bombing. It's a 10-year anniversary. Celebrate that. So yeah, I'd like to talk about drugs today because I've been hearing a lot about it on the news lately. The opioid epidemic, right? It's really been going on for like, I don't know, probably since around the turn of the century, right? This whole new drug epidemic that we got. It wasn't like that when I was a kid. We weren't into that kind of drug, man. I ain't gonna lie, I did my fair share of drugs in my life, man. But opioids aren't one of them, man. When I was a kid, we were more into drugs that would pick you up, give you energy, make you want to do stuff, stay up for 3 or 4 days, those kind of drugs. And I've been paying the price now that I'm getting older, but we live and learn, right? But anyways, yeah, the drugs now, so it all goes back to like the year 2000 when they first started advertising drugs on television. I noticed that the opioid epidemic has grown since then, but yeah, all these drugs that they advertise on TV now, they didn't, before the year 2000, there was no advertising of drugs on television. And I think it's part of the plan for the new American century, they call it, which included 9/11, advertising drugs on television, and they always say, that now it's so common, and like all these drug commercials are the same. Ask your doctor, blah, 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 they're almost the same exact format at every commercial. And then I've also heard that it's pretty much the same drug they're selling on each one. The same drug for a different and they just give it a different name, a different purpose. It's got the same side effects. And all these drugs are really, really not fucking good for you. But it's all a big racket in the industry. But anyways, yeah, so going on to the opioid epidemic. So yeah, I'm sure we've all known at least one person by now that's died of either a heroin overdose or pills, oxycodone. But yeah, I've known at least one that died from heroin. And so my personal experience, when I was going through my oral surgery last October, so yeah, I had a bunch of teeth pulled out, and the surgeon fucking gave me a prescription for like 30 opioids pills with some kind of codone. It wasn't oxycodone, but it was another kind of codone, and I'm pretty sure it was a opioid-based painkiller. And I ain't gonna lie, the first day when I got home, I took one, and man, it was powerful, man. It took my pain away within like 10 minutes. I didn't feel shit. Like, man, this is some powerful stuff. But that's all I did. I just took one, and that's all I needed. And then I just dealt with the pain after that. So I had over 29 pills left over that I wasn't about to fucking take them. So I just got rid of them. I'm gonna say how I got rid of them, but yeah, I also knew this guy I was working with last winter, and yeah, he had bad pain problems, and he had fucking destroyed his shoulder, his back. He's still working in construction at 57 years old, and he had some interesting stories about this doctor he would go to, and the doctor would just keep giving him more and more Oxycontin, as much as he fucking wanted, man. He'd go in there and the doctor would give him. He said, man, this doctor was trying to turn me into a fucking junkie, he told me. He's like, so, he said he was real careful about taking the pill because he really didn't want to become a fucking addict, right? So he said the doctor gave him one prescription. He bought a bunch. He said for a while he was selling the pills, which is highly illegal, man. They fucking, you're not allowed to give them away. If you get caught doing that, man, that's a felony. But yeah, he said he didn't want to become hooked on them, so he was selling the pills. And man, he said people were lining up, fighting over them to buy these pills off him because they were so fucking addicted to the shit. Because of these doctors, man. And that's how it happens. That's how, I'd say 90% of these fucking addicts are created, man. They go into a doctor with some pain, and all they do is give them painkillers, and they become hooked on them. And it's really sad. But yeah, this guy told me all about it, man. And he said, yeah, they were lining up, man, fighting to buy them off him. He's like selling for like $10 each. So yeah, he said he made enough, or 10 or 20 bucks each. So he's like, he made enough money off one prescription to pay his rent for 2 months. So yeah, it's fucking bad how desperate people are for these things, you know. They say marijuana is a dangerous drug. Alcohol is obviously a very dangerous drug. Nicotine, all legal. But cannabis, the safest of them all, you know. Even if it's legal here in Colorado, it's still kind of quasi-legal. You know, you can only have 1 ounce. What kind of bullshit is that? You can only grow 3 plants. You know, it's not fucking legal. It's controlled to make them money. Totally, man, because, you know, they make it so that, you know, if you use cannabis regularly, you'll never be able to grow enough legally to supply yourself. So either you're going to have to break the law, or you're going to have to buy weed to keep yourself supplied legally, because you can never have more than 1 ounce at a time. So yeah. Yeah, also I think this whole drug conspiracy, right, it goes back, you know, back in the 90s when they started coming out with all this OCD and shit and giving kids drugs like Ritalin and there's a few other ones. I can't think of the name right now, but I think that's where a lot of people start their drug addiction. You know, I've talked to a lot of younger people, and they grew up during that time, and they're telling me, you know, and they're still kind of addicted to those drugs that they were given. And I know they take them and fucking crush them up and snort them and shit. But yeah, so I thought I'd talk a little bit today because lately they're talking about over and over on the news about the opioid addiction in America today, and how the opioid epidemic and how bad it is. And I just want to point out that it was all created on purpose, all done on purpose. And they want people fucking strung out and destroying their lives with opioids. Fucking so they make money off it. They destroy people's lives. They kill people. It just does a lot for them, for the fucking turds that rule the world. They love it. They love destroying people's lives. They love seeing people suffer. Fucking, and one of the best ways of doing it, through drug addiction. Yeah, Adderall, that's the one I couldn't think of. Yeah, that's what that makes you just like zone out. And like, you could sit there and stare at a fucking dripping water faucet for hours on that shit. So yeah, that's how they do it. That's how they fucking destroy people's lives with fucking drugs in this country. It all starts with some pain and a little prescription to get rid of your pain, and then another prescription to get you hooked on the shit. And then once you're good and hooked on it, they cut you off. You can't get no more prescriptions. And I've seen this happen to people. And then they become desperate. So they either find their pills on the black market, or they go turn to heroin and become a criminal, and that's what they want. That's what it's all about. That's the whole fucking conspiracy, is to create criminals out of innocent fucking people and have a reason to throw them in prison on the taxpayer's dime. $40,000 a year to keep a person in prison to the taxpayer, and they probably cost them like a couple $1,000s. So they make $38,000 profit to keep a person in prison, and that's what it's all about. Destroy their lives, make money off them, turn them into an addict, and then criminalize them. Or, even better yet, they die of an overdose. Problem solved. So yep, that's the opioid epidemic in America today. It's really quite sad, and as far as I'm concerned, these doctors are a bunch of fucking criminals. Anyway, that's what I got to talk about today. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you guys soon. But yeah, my point is with that oral surgeon prescribing me with 30 pills, and I only took one, was that shows you right there how these fucking doctors are purposely creating addicts. There's no way he should have gave me 30 pills, man. You know, as far as I'm concerned, that fucker is trying to get me hooked on opioids.